All right, thank you, and uh, welcome to everyone to the Internet of Value Foundation, New York, episode 74. And for all of those who come and listen to the information in the future, I hope everyone who listens to this not only today, but possibly 50 to hundreds of years in the future finds this information just as valuable as I know I do every single day. Uh, just all of the diverse amount of mindsets and perspectives and people that come in here and share their ideals on the topics we speak about. So just want to say thank you beforehand. And if anybody in the audience has any questions about the topics above or anything they would like to speak on right now, please feel free to type it in the bubble at the bottom right or come up. I might be quiet for just a moment. I am cooking some pasta at the same time as I want to send some more invites out, get some more people in here. But welcome, Shellfish and Zara. Hopefully you guys are doing well today.
Doing great. How's it going, Zara?
I'm good, thank you. I was really looking forward to this space. Not too sure what's going on over there, but yeah, just looking forward to a bit of calmness and sanity.
Oh, were you in the last space also?
I was before it all kicked off, and then I left, and then I come back again, and I was just like, well, it's just a bit awful, really. But yeah, I was in and out, and one of the people that was in there is someone that I know has been causing a bit of fuss with some other people in the community. So yeah, it's just not very nice to see, really.
Quite.
So it's like an increase in just mental instability lately. Is that just due to market stuff, or is that I was asking if it has to do with the solar
No, and
flares frequencies?
I don't think that moment either was what you could even localize to be that. Right? It was just a horrifically bad joke. I wouldn't even call it bad, but a horrifically uncalled for joke, and didn't serve its place at all. But yes, in market conditions that are go down, people lose their value that they have saved their lives for. You could see more depressed states. Uh, but there's also a big notion that we've all, most people in the community, have been here for about 2 years. Everybody's coming, for the most part, from that 2020, 2018 to 2020, right? You've been here for either 2 to 5 years approximately at this point. And a lot of the people on Twitter, crypto Twitter, which is about to be 2 years old or so, have now grown close to each other. And so once you grow close to each other, you particularly see a different side of the individual than you had when the walls were up. And it's very common. I've seen it over the course of the last decade happen multiple times.
Oh, that's so very insightful. I did not even think about it like that. And I would imagine all of our relationships on here are actually kind of like in hyperspeed because we spend so many more hours together than most people in the real world. Even some of us more than like spouses or family members would. It's weird, but yeah.
It happens. But a couple more minutes and I will get started talking about, I'm going to go more on the Evernode and side chains in general today. I will touch on hooks though if anybody wants to, but we talked about it for a good hour and a half or so yesterday, so I don't want to take up all the time speaking about it again today.
Well, I'm actually going to have to leave in about 40 minutes. So I was kind of fascinated with the video you posted of the stem cells in the beaker that started beating on their own. That was pretty cool. And I'm really looking forward to the next step with brain cells and seeing what they're able to do with like the Morphe chips and all that. So pretty awesome.
Yeah, so it wasn't the stem cells themselves. It was created organic heart tissue or heart muscle, and when they applied the stem cell secretion onto it, they were able to get the heart to beat. And so what this showed is not only can we organically grow the heart and the tissue that makes up the organic matter of the heart, but we can assist in the actual methodologies of how fast it can actually be created by maybe adding secretions of cells that are any cell in a sense, right? It can, this a cell at its um, pre-adolescent state, you could consider it, which could truly become any cell that you want it to be that exists inside of our bodies. Dazzling, go ahead, man.
Good morning, everyone. I was curious on the hooks, right? So I'm finding it hard to separate hooks and Evernote, right? But I know there is a difference there. But it's like 5 degrees here, and I'm out for a walk, and the sun's not even up yet, so I might need a bit more time to warm up. But yeah, when you're ready, if we could kind of have a bit of a breakdown on that or a discussion on that, that'd be fantastic.
Great question. Shellfish, you have your hand up. If it's still on topic, go ahead and ask it, and then we'll switch.
No, it's okay. We'll save it for Thursday because I know that could be at least an hour discussion on its own. So we'll stay on topic with your Evernote hooks.
I will
today.
be on Thursday, but I won't be hosting a space on Thursday.
Well, I'll just blow up your DMs and annoy the crap out of you. No, I'm just kidding.
Until I get limited. Okay, so back to what you had asked, Dazzle, which is an excellent question, right? It is a little, for myself, it has gotten a little convoluted in a sense, right? Because at first, when I learned about hooks, it's like already almost 2 years ago, the notion was it shouldn't be called smart contract logic, although it's a very light execution of logic that smart contract applications are able to do on an EVM chain. Obviously, not being EVM based, it's C++ based or C based. I think Vet was saying yesterday, although I do think it is C++. But my original understanding was on the XRP ledger, we have account-based structures. So every wallet you have is an account, and so the hook itself would adhere to a single account. You would set the hook flag on, right, and be able to utilize a specific notion of the hook that would have been programmed. I thought originally it would only have been able to access actions that already exist on the XRP ledger in a single ledger close. So one execution of a transaction could activate 7 different actions that already existed on the ledger. It originally thought it was going to be 7 different actions, but it's 10. So say if you wanted to do 10 different things that exist on the XRP ledger: escrow, create an NFT, send the transaction, accept the transaction, all of these things would be able to execute within one ledger close by utilizing this hook, which is attached to your account. Now, to my understanding, is actually you'll be able to do a lot more things with the hooks. The biggest difference, though, between Evernote and hooks is that hooks is a very light smart contract logic that exists on the account-based structure of the XRP ledger layer 1, and Evernote is a completely different essence in the sense that it is its own network, and it is a smart contract hosting platform, and every single host itself consists of its own ledger or its own blockchain, which is communicating through the means of Hotpocket, which is just the protocol of what they named it, and utilizing the transactions on the XRP ledger to be able to create the host NFT, which then allows the representation to be proven of your host on Evernote. And so Hook sidechain, one network; Evernote, separate network. Hook sidechain is a replication of the XRP ledger plus the hooks amendment, so the ability to have these account-based light logic contracts that can execute, and then Evernode being a full-on hosting platform where every host can provide their CPU, RAM, hardware for applications to be able to be running on the host in a decentralized manner. And with that being said, the applications you can run on an Evernode is anywhere from C++ based applications, Python, JS, Solidity, Rust. So there will be a lot of different things that you'll be able to run on an Evernode and do in a decentralized way. When I see decentralized, it's because the process of using the hooks to create a NFT that's proven on the XRP ledger that allows you to host on Evernode. You can do this with one transaction and have 32 multi-signers. So you could host your application in 32 different hosts from one transaction. Very decentralized, in my opinion. That was a lot, right? Dazzling. If you if you had any questions on it, or in the midst of it, feel free to always cut me off and stop me and ask what a particular thing you're wondering. Bet, welcome to the space.
No, you're good. I'm glad you record these because I'm gonna need to go over that again. I'm a very visual person, so if I've got it written down or it's kind of in front of me and I can see the difference, right? I tend to get things a lot, better. But no, thank you. I do appreciate you kind of breaking that down for me.
Yeah, you still have questions on it?
Not at this stage, but I'll hang around. I'm about to hit go under a bridge, so I'm going to be in a drop out for a sec, but I'll come back.
Sir.
So you actually have a lot more people in the room now. Death Ranger is going over Evernodes today if anybody wants to come up and they have questions.
No, you're fine. I'm still cooking pasta. I actually burnt my garlic bread a little bit.
Hey, NYC. How's it going?
Hello. Hey, Shellfish. How are you? Hey, Des.
Welcome, man.
Dazzling, Zara, McQuack. How's everybody doing?
Really good. Hey, you know what? I heard Evernodes can fix burnt garlic bread.
Do they give them the hookup?
I heard it solves all problems.
Go ahead, McQuack. Go ahead.
How's it going,
This
McQuack?
is like a very technical question, and I hope Death Ranger could simplify it for me. There was a little bit talk of Interledger and EVMs, and I would like to see a compare and contrast of both of them from his point of view.
Sorry, can you repeat that, McQuack?
Just a compare and contrast versus the Interledger. Not Interledger. What was it? Something similar to the EVM bridge, something like that, and XRPL's Interledger. I'm slipping my mind right now. Give me a minute.
Are you talking about the coming from the hook side
Yes,
chain?
there we go. Yeah, there we go.
And then are you talking about the what's that? PeerSys EVM sidechain bridge?
Well, I was more thinking of Flare's EVM bridges, but yeah, fuck it. Yeah, tell me about that.
Yeah, so all right. So basically, it's very similar to how most of the EVM bridges. There's multi-signers on both ends of the networks, and so somebody runs an application that basically holds your asset and issues you an IOU on the other network, and it's typically, and I'm pretty sure they're also doing the same thing. They're just using the Cosmos SDK. However, for the burn to mint, which as much as maybe it's not the most attractive thing, I think it's pretty cool. It features that XPOP. If you've ever seen the QR scannable transactions that could be accessed in a offline manner. Obviously, the transaction itself doesn't occur offline, but the ability to have a provable timestamp of something occurring. So what you would do is, and this still takes some changes, I think, on the XRP ledger, if I'm not mistaken. But you would burn, and Bet, you could come up and correct me on that actually. But you would send your XRP to a burn address, and you're going to take this hash. Actually, you know what? You're right. I don't think it has to do anything with the XRP ledger Ripple decode changing. So you're going to take that hash from that burnt transaction, and you're going to bring it to an application that exists on the Hook sidechain. And when you give it the hash, it'll use an oracle to be able to look up and prove to itself that you have burnt those tokens, or essentially sent those tokens to a burner wallet that nobody has access to. And then it'll issue you the tokens on that Hook sidechain in the form of EXRP. Thing is, though, is those tokens are burned. I mean, right? There's no going back and saying, "Oh, I didn't want to do that." I mean, as soon as you send them to that wallet, that's it. And this also, I think, will create a price dynamic. Obviously, if there's trading pairs between the two, and this is where your hooks, your Evernode really could come into play, because you could run an application on Evernode that acted as an automated market maker that acted as a DEX that could also provide itself with another application of an Oracle service, and so take the price feed from the DEX that's being traded on the XRP ledger and all of the exchanges, so there's less arbitrage that could possibly happen, and then create this trading pair for those to trade EXRP and XRP. Of course, that's really if exchanges don't make it easy.
I'm kind of slipping. Where's EXRP? Which network is that?
EXRP is the XRP that exists on the Hook sidechain.
Oh, okay. So it's like okay, cool. Yeah, the burn to mint. Yeah, I'm really excited for more projects that are coming out with the burn to mint. I think it's a really good protocol. And apparently they have that. Oh, okay, I'm looking into that. But where would the price feeds come from?
From the people trading it back and forth.
Okay, so it's not trying to grab any other external market prices from there, at least from okay.
Well, you could grab market external prices from all of the different exchanges, and so say you wanted to set a relative USD price for your XRP, you'd want to pull the information for that. And so when XRP trades with EXRP, you can get a variable rating of what the USD price is based off of the two assets that are trading.
And this is where I go conspiratorial, like Interledger hooks, XRPL's hooks. Could they hook to the Flare network and use their price feeds?
Well, not using a hook, but could somebody build an application that was able to issue you, and this is the whole F asset system, right? Where you will be able to at least issue your asset and have it as an IOU on the other network, and be able to participate in any trades that may exist on the network, and that price feed be given to the network, so that if you were to execute a trade, it is in a variable range where you're not being taken advantage of by some sort of arbitrage opportunity. And right, this can be done on a lot of networks today, although I think Flare being a good example of a network that has a lot of capabilities, and the F asset being the biggest thing, because if you bring a particular asset that's an F asset over to that, you actually get a yield for just bringing the asset over in the form of a Flare token. So that's it's an added benefit for literally just bringing your token over there. There's always a risk ratio, right, with wrapping your asset and bringing it over. If you act as your own agent, the risk is really just the code that you've put into your own application and built, right? Because you're acting as your own custodial agent. But there always is the possibility, if you use another custodial agent and they issue your asset, that they say XRP were to jump up 5,000% in a couple hours or whatever, they potentially could try and run away from that. Now there are metrics like security metrics that are built into Flare and Songbird, which try and prevent that, based in the form of, if you do something like that and you're a malicious actor, you've provided collateral, which will obviously be taken from you and paid back to the users who you tried to harm. The question is if XRP goes up 500, and this is obviously an example I don't think would ever really happen, but XRP goes up 5,000% and Songbird doesn't. I mean, well, did you really get your values back worth? No, definitely not. Although I highly doubt something like that would play out without ample time for people to realize what was going on.
Well, honestly, I think how the economics work, like if it's on the network, so you're literally collateralizing the network. I think the price would like simultaneously go slightly up with it. It's not as like whatever's collateralized goes up in value. It's literally collateralized by that token.
Oh, this is also another metric. So the idea is the more value that goes onto the network, the higher the price of the token actually has to be able to collateralize it, at least in a safe manner. Makes a lot of sense. Or you need more of the token, right? And so one or the other has to play out. But typically supply and demand, if you don't have the token and you need it to collateralize something, then, right, it becomes more valuable to you. All possibilities. Yep. Although, you brought up Interledger Protocol, though, a few times.
Yeah, I'm trying to like learn more into it. I'm trying to study, but things get in the way.
So Interledger Protocol was a protocol that was built by Ripple, particularly Stephen Thomas, and gifted to the W3C in 2015. Now, it is just a protocol, right? It's not a blockchain. It's not a ledger. It has the ability to swap information atomically through the protocol as fast as light can move. And so as fast as the information can be transferred, you can use this protocol to be able to transact this set of information. This really comes down to how fast the servers and the computational systems behind that are able to obviously output, and what the information is that's being transferred over it. In particular, one of the reasons why I liked the XRP ledger, this is actually the whole reason why I got interested in the XRP ledger, although I was in blockchain for time before that, or distributed ledger technology, I really should call it, was based off of the Interledger protocol having two main functions of the ability to transfer data atomically: universal mode and atomic mode. Now, universal mode, if I'm not mistaken off the top of my head, actually uses XRP Ledger to settle a value exchange. And so it was built that way, it was designed that way, and it got me interested in the XRP Ledger originally. Now, today, the Interledger Protocol, the Interledger Protocol Foundation, has really been making some big moves in the course of the last 2 years or so. If you want to look up the GitHub or these projects, one is Rafiki that is being built. The other one, Dazi.land, which is specifically being built by Stefan Thomas. And my third favorite project is called Tiger Beetle, which is a new age server station that they've built. It's a little bit in the unknown for myself, I would say. I mean, I understand the basics of it. I haven't been able to dive deep into it because they don't really have a lot of information publicly. But it's servers that were built specifically to be able to just help host information that could transfer over the Interledger protocol. And if I'm not mistaken, it was something like 10 million transactions per second or something. It's something astronomical that you don't.
1 million, it says right here. Yeah.
1 million, thank you.
That's the design target right now. October 2020, it's achieved 800,000. Pretty close, I guess. Mode.
That's awesome. Look up the website.
Yeah, I'm looking at it right there. I see Mojo Loop. I see, yeah, they're all.
Mojo Loop being a very big participant in the African region for sure. Yep, they are attempting to unbank South Africa.
You mentioned Tiger Beetle. You mentioned right. What's the Rafiki? What was the second one?
Dassie.land. DASSIE.land.
I haven't really heard much about Tiger Beetle lately. They're just still building up.
It's quiet. It's also not anything crazy sexy to talk about.
It's fucking sexy to me. Keep talking. You're turning me on, Death.
Okay, I wasn't ready for that one. I'm sorry though. I'm eating and taking intervals as I speak. So if you guys want to talk too, I mean, feel free. Anybody in the audience also, if you guys want to come up or have any thoughts on anything we've spoken about.
I was going to say, McQuack's got his computer in front of him, so he's like, kind of getting into it as you're talking. And I've heard a couple of other people do that as well. It's like an interactive classroom. It's really, really nice.
No, you're very right, Dazzling, and it's something that it really does make me very happy. We hold these devices in our hands and have these electronic distributed information systems in our home that literally hold all of the information that we could possibly want to absorb over the course of history, over thousands of years, that we at least have detailed enough where we can see that there's information. And most of us, I really should say 45% of users who have phones actually pay. Is it 55 or 45? Well, it's very high. Users play video games on their phone. That's that and phone calls and TikTok. That's all they do. So always makes me happy to hear that somebody's looking up information as we're speaking about it, as I do all the time myself.
The funny thing is, I want to learn so I can make things for those people that want those things.
What'd you say,
I'm like getting into like I'm a more creative head, but like I want to get into these technical things because I want to create products that will capture those people.
That's it. They are the market. Yes, correct. I agree. And so, if you have any questions about any of the stuff that we spoke about, also in any detailed format, I mean, go ahead and ask away. Or should I go back to Evernote a little bit?
Evernote. That's the hot topic coming up.
Awesome. So, going back to Evernote then, and this big difference on when we say smart contract capabilities, or why I reference it as a hosting platform rather than a smart contract platform. And in reality, it's because every host itself is in its sense its own blockchain. And going back to the applications that can be ran in all of the different languages, Solidity, C++, Python, JS, Rust, you as a host, if you choose, anybody in here or in the future chooses to act as a host, by providing the RAM, the hard drives, the CPU, all of the processing power that would be needed by somebody running an application, you in return take part in the economy of Evernote in the form of Evers. And so this is one of the most significant differences between Codius and Evernote, is that Codius was a smart contracting hosting platform that anybody could use, but had no economic means built into the system itself. It was great if you wanted to build your own application. Say Amazon wants to build an application and use some sort of smart contract capabilities. That's great, but in a means of distributed ledgers, not very beneficial. Nobody wants to partake in the hosting for other people. This huge change I think is really going to play into one of why the dynamics of why Evernote is going to be so hot, is because not only do you have the capability to run these applications and do it in a decentralized manner, whether it be Web 2 or, as people in quotations like to say, Web 3, which I really don't think exists yet, it'll all be capable of doing so. So, yeah, I think it's really cool. Dazzling, no, you got your hand up. Go ahead, man.
So someone was basically interrogating Vet on the hardware that he needed to run a XRPL validator about a week ago. I'm curious to know what hardware is involved with running an Evernote.
Very good question. Well, so you know, it's not something you're going to want to do on your home computer, right, or your laptop at the house. Not saying that you couldn't, and you probably could very easily, but it's something you probably either want to have commercial grade servers for, or you want to host your own VPS, the virtual private server, from some sort of ISP provider, which is your internet service provider.
No tacking together a Raspberry
the
Pi and just slapping it together?
well, Well, not a Raspberry Pi, no, because you're going to need CPU, you're going to need RAM, which is something that I don't think a Raspberry Pi is able to provide, although CPU, yeah. But you're going to need some disk space, and maybe if you want to play like the long game, right, you could have hundreds of gigabytes of disk space because maybe somebody has an extremely large application they want to run in a decentralized manner, and boom, you're the only host that's able to provide that service for them, and they want to do it, and it doesn't really matter, you know, the cost structure at that time, because it's like a rolling cost structure. The hosts basically are able to have a variable unit where they put a different price up that they're willing to rent their host out for, and so, you know, maybe you go for the cheaper host, but in some sort of setting like that, you don't have a choice. You have to go with the host that can provide the service that you would need. Um, I think I got away from your question a little bit there, though. What was it again, Dazzling? I'm sorry.
The hardware required
Oh,
to
hardware. That's
run a
right. That's
node.
right.
Yep,
Thank
yep.
you. I lost my train of thought. You're the best. So I have a hosting node that I've been running for. Has it been over a year already? Wow, it's so crazy. Time flies. Uh, $20 a month, right? You could get away with it for probably doing it $10 a month. You're not going to be able to find any VPS or virtual private server provider that's probably going to let you rent anything for less than $10 a month anyway. It might even be a little bit more right now because, you know, of everything just going up in general. However, yeah, $20 a month, you can get away with it. Now, this being said, right, as the economy of Evernote consists of the applications running on Evernote, them paying you as a host to be able to provide that hosting service, the more CPU, RAM, disk space, the more hardware you're providing, the larger or more applications you're able to provide for. And so, from an economical standpoint, it really comes down to supply and demand. But if there is a large supply for Evernote, it may make sense if you have a larger amount of hardware that you provide, so that users can pay for that, and you also obviously make a profit from it. I mean, it's just it has to play economically in your favor for you to do that. You're not going to rent a larger host and then spend all the money on the host unless you're, I would say, long on Evernote and you can afford to do that. That's a personal choice. Um, but you know, it's from an economical standpoint. If you look at it like how Bitcoin miners kind of need to sell Bitcoin to be able to survive providing the mining service or the hosting service, very similar to that in the way the mechanics play out. But yeah, back to it, like $20 a month. And you could rent it from a Hertz, a Linode, I mean, Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Cloud. Yeah, Microsoft. You could run it on the cloud. You name it. It was a good question, though. Excellent question. If you guys aren't going to speak, I'm going to have to eat. Just messing around. I'm sorry. But if anybody has any questions, feel free to type it in the bottom right or hit the request and come up. We're speaking about Evernode, hooks, sidechains, XRP Ledger. If there's any amendment questions, any XLS questions, you guys name it. You can come up and ask it. I don't mind talking about it today. That you must be busy today. What about you, NY? What do you think about so far what we've spoken about today?
It all seems like everything is unfolding the way it's supposed to. You know, you're never really gonna have solutions before you have problems. So you're never really gonna have the hardware or the proper code before you come up with an idea. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna have to come up with an idea, and then everything is gonna flood from that. So with all these side chains being enabled and built, and all these protocols that are connecting all these ideas together, it's just gonna continue to spread and kind of what's the word? Kind of influence more ideas, more protocols to come to mind. So we really are just watching our ideas manifest in front of us. So a lot of the questions, even people in the crowd, a lot of the questions you have in your mind, a lot of the things you're like, oh, let me ask this, is this possible to build? Yes, we are so early that it is possible to build. And the fact that you're thinking about that idea should be enough proof to let you know that that's something you should look at. And that's something that maybe you should try to build. So yeah, it's just a snowball effect. We're just going to continue going down the slope, and we're just going to continue gathering debris, and it's just going to make the network bigger. And all these protocols just allow it much easier so that you don't have to kind of switch your business to just to operate with the network. Somebody's going to build something that is just going to allow you to exist the way you are, but you're just going to connect to more people. So it's a good time to be alive, to be honest.
That's it. Refine all the networks. Open up all the connections between the APIs. Copy and paste to every town and state and county and village that exists. And when I reference that, I mean truly hundreds of thousands of different side chains. Although maybe many will not think of it as layer ones and layer hundreds and layer 500s, but all of these different interoperable distributed information systems like we have today, except very much so not in the manner of the information that we really need to be distributed. Things like voting rights or information in the town, means of the means of being able to interconnect for medical information and for your privacy and your DID or your digital identification, all of these different metrics that we have today in a physical format, but are kind of clunky and really not efficient, non-efficient to the system that we already have being built. And all of these different little pieces and the keys that fit into these different doorways that are going to open enable us to really exist in this hallway of never-ending doorways. McQuack, go ahead. I saw your hand up.
Now, switching it up to a little bit of XLS30, and kind of seeing Sologenic actually take advantage of that. It's, I don't know, I don't even know what I want to ask with this. It's the AMMs. Nah, I can't think of anything, but like, I'm just excited.
Yeah, and interesting bringing up the AMM amendment, right? The XLS 30 or XRP standards, or XRP Ledger standards, sorry, which is what XLS stands for. The inability that, gosh, I wish you could talk right now. The inability that we have to really get everybody on board to vote, to make changes even when people are being ridiculed on social media to make the changes, uh, drives me a little crazy. And so it brings me to this point where maybe we don't get the AMM on mainnet. What if we were to get the AMM on a burn to min sidechain? Maybe it's the Hook sidechain that gets the AMM updated, or maybe it's just another sidechain. I think it would be an interesting kind of notion to be able to have it as an ability for us as a community if we wanted to participate in it, and see how it works in a live setting without it needing to be voted on mainnet. But I would also enjoy it much more if it was on mainnet for sure. I'm a quack. I think you have to show your hand.
No, I was waving.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm definitely excited, and hopefully we do see it on mainnet before the end of the year, maybe quarter 4, but don't quote me on it.
Like, Quack, you said you were waving. I just got like a total mental image of Forrest Gump on the boat waving to what's his name, Lieutenant Dan. Anyway, my question was, so what is the more effective UNL vote? Is that what you're talking about, the UNL voters? Because I know they had said that that there was a bunch on the universities, and some were following through the UNL voting, and others. So, is it more the individual validators, right? Is that what you're like? Is there any way to target them more instead of? Because didn't they just put another UNL on a university recently? Like, they keep giving them to universities, but if those are the ones that are not voting, like, why keep putting them on the universities?
Well, I mean, it's not always. No, I mean, it's some universities, some exchanges, and there are quite a lot of individuals who run them as well. But it's 30. There are 35. The list hasn't gone over 35. The last one that was added was the South Korean university, and they are actually quite attentive. Although, right, still probably running it for whatever procedural reasons they have, in the university for testing or for some sort of class. But you make a good point though with the other individuals, right? The XRP ledger consists of it's about 800 or 900 or so nodes all communicating together, right? And so with 35 of them being the majority overlap, and with that being about another 182 of them that are very close to that, but would still be considered, in my opinion, trusted nodes to those of the 35 UNLs. You don't want to you don't want to, say that the 28 UNLs vote yay, and you have, right, 150 of the actual other validators are voting or don't even know the vote's going on, right, or they're voting nay. I mean, they're going to get amendment blocked, and what happens is they'll technically fork away when the amendment gets pushed through. But yes, it's as easy as just updating and resyncing with the XRP ledger. It's not something that we maybe want to do. I mean, it could cause some sort of catastrophic event where transactions cease or something occurs because there's not enough computational power for the network.
That's interesting. Thank you for explaining that.
Yeah, if you want to go around and get all of their names and emails, and then we can build an application. The thing is like, if you were to do that, does that look then centralized, right? If somebody was to build an application, say, all right, listen, I'm going to try and communitize all of the nodes and people running software on the ledger, and kind of bring them into like a little voting place. I don't know. Is that centralized now at that point, right? Because everybody's commingling with each other? It's questions.
I want to participate more, but I have to go to work, so I'm going to drop down to listener.
Thank you, Shel. We appreciate you.
Appreciate you guys too.
So, Death, you said that you're hosting a what kind of node are you hosting?
in Evernode.
Oh, you've had it up for about a year already?
Yeah, I think it might even be more than that. But this is the beta, right? And so I started on version 1 of the beta. We're on version 3 of the beta right now. And then I think hopefully after version 3 point whatever it is, eventually we'll go live when the hook sidechain goes live. Because this also does actually require the hook sidechain to go live for Evernode to really properly exist. I guess it could. No, that wouldn't make any sense. You could use like the transactions off of the DevNet, but yeah, to the same capacity, I don't think that's how it's going to be. And it was quite simple to set up. I mean, it's really not any more complicated than setting up an XRP ledger validator, really. And there are some great videos out there. You could watch. I think one from one of the creators of FTSO AU, Tom. He made a really good clip, and I'm trying to think. There's another 1 or 2 people who've made it really easy to follow. Although the one for Evernode is not out yet. This is something that Wojake, I'm very hoping soon will have some sort of informative step-by-step that you could take, where you could be able to rent a server from a virtual private server provider and be able to set it up yourself.
If I may, I was hoping that with what Wojake is putting together, that it might cover the basis of how to kind of set one up.
Sorry, taking an interval bite. The thing is, Dazzling, is depending on the ISP you use, it might be a little bit of a difference in setting it up. It's pretty much straightforward. But I think if we were to sit down in a class setting where it's really trying to be informative and maybe even going to learn some of the code, I don't know if what Woe is going to want to push is trying to get everybody to set up a host, because that literally takes money out of your pocket, and so maybe not everybody is going to want to play as a host. However, if you do want to sit down and go over it, I mean, we could go over it in like 20 minutes, and I also have a friend who can literally give you the code that you would need to type into, so you could just copy and paste to start your host up. But it's still something that that you're going to pay whatever $20 to $30 a month for, and there is no return, right? It's on a beta. You're just providing a service at this moment for them to test applications.
And that's what it should be for, providing a service, not how much you can make off of it.
Yeah, I agree. Evernode, and this is like the biggest difference between Codius. It's because Codius was a smart contract hosting platform, but it didn't have any economy built into it. And so, as much as I do agree from you from a community standpoint, it's like if I'm paying $500 a month, like, do I want people who are just going to use me for my host to just use their applications there, where they're going to make a profit off of me and I'm just going to pay for the hardware? It makes sense in the sense of the form of Evers. So like if I'm a host and you want to run an application in a decentralized format on my host, you would pay me for the time that you use, or the hardware that you use on my host. And so in the form of Evers, I'd be making some sort of value exchange for providing you that service. So I mean, it definitely does make sense. From at this standpoint, though, there is no economic means of you making any sort of your value.
It makes a good point from a financial standpoint. It does. And I'm just asking because we're in the middle of a apex here, like an inversion. So whenever we do move forward, it's my opinion that we should move forward in the right meaning, not just like, check it out. Say, like you said, you may pay $500. Say everybody pays $500 for their shit, but you make one that 2 billion people want. And you could charge them $20 instead of $500. And guess what? You're going to make a lot more than anybody else. But to some people, no, enough is never enough. There is no enough. More. Yes, thank you, Quack. That's sad, man.
Yeah, I agree. It's a miscalculation in the means of understanding the efficiency metrics behind you taking at least what you need to represent your living in a means of being able to help yourself and others, but without gouging where it damages others. Yeah. Was I muted there that whole time, or was I? Would you guys hear me?
Nah, I heard you, man.
You're good, yeah.
But you know, like I'm in Texas, right? Minimum wage is still under $8 an hour. I mean, it's fucking horrible, dude.
Yeah, that would be rough. I couldn't imagine. The Quack. You got your hand up, then. But go ahead, man.
You mentioned maybe the AMMs aren't on the mainnet and might be on another network. You're talking about hosting and setting up a. Have you ever looked into becoming a TSO provider on that player?
Not in myself, and for a few reasons personally. I've also had a lot of offers from people who were TSO providers to like kind of partner with them, and it was just kind of like, I like the service, I totally believe in it, but comes this whole marketing thing also, right? Like, delegate to me, right? Or because it doesn't make any sense for me to participate as a service provider if you're not delegating to me, because it costs a ton of money to run the infrastructure for a TSO provider. And if I'm not getting any votes and I'm not able to sell the Songbird or Flare to be able to host that software, yeah, I definitely feel for a lot. And we've seen the changes that are coming now to Songbird and Flare to try and create this dynamic where it is really beneficial for those who are providing the services for the network, and they don't feel like they're in this position. We see that with the staking that's coming for the validators on Flare.
Have you ever heard of Freenom?
You said Freenom?
Freenom. FREENOM.
Oh, it's just very familiar. I don't know.
It is the fastest internet we have. It's free, and there's less fucking locks and safety bullshit, so your shit's more protected. And also, that's one way I was able to access the Moses grid beneath the deepest trench under Ariana's web. And if anybody's listening, and if you want to try it out, I'll put a video up in the link for you. The IP addresses is all 80s, 80, 80, 80, 80, and then it's 80, 80, 81, 81. I'll post it in here for y'all, and like I said, it's free.
You could have told me this before I purchased a domain.
I looked up.
Man, I don't even own a computer, so I don't think about that kind of stuff. But once you start talking about charging and you need to make sure you make this, use the fastest internet there is, which is the free internet. Let me get a link real quick, man. I'll put it in the bubble.
I typed in Freenom and I got hashtag free mom hugs. So that's cool.
Yeah, I'll throw in a link for you too.
Thank you. By the way, you don't have to say yes or no, but is this Brian?
No, I am Bob.
Oh, Bob.
What's up, man?
Oh, glad to see you're back. I knew that voice. Well, it's been quite a while, but I am glad to see that you are back in the spaces.
Thanks. All right, I got the link. I'm putting it in the chat right now, man. I'm around a little bit, but been out of them a little.
It's
more often lately.
life always comes first, and you got to do what you got to do in real life so you can enjoy the other dimensional states that we seem to all interact in.
Well, hell yeah. So I'm waiting on my weed man.
But going back to Evernote for a little bit, and I probably close up the space in a couple minutes. So if anybody down below, last minute, if you have any questions on any of the stuff that we've talked about, or any topic that you would like to bring up, please feel free to do so.
And I haven't been on that Freenom since 2018. So if it does, they might have changed domain names. I don't know, but if they do, I will find out. I'll get with 403 and find out. They know everything. They pretty much run the fucking net. So
yeah, as long as they haven't deleted it from the Wayback Finder as well. I've actually found that a lot of information from the early 2000s, if you try and go and look, it's not even on the Wayback Finder. I mean, the servers don't even exist.
I heard Google's basically wiping everything from like 2003 and before. I forget where I heard that.
oh, also watch your phones, man. You'll have pictures start disappearing and all this shit. Mine's been doing it for a while now.
Yeah.
Gotta disconnect my hard drives from my PC now.
I'll just back them up, put it on USBs. That's what I do with all of the important information I have. USB is such a gift. Such a small, compact information spreader.
I've got to say, I've got every single hard drive we have ever owned since about 1996. And it's kind of fun to go back into them sometimes and have a look.
Baby, blow off the fucking C drive. Bring me that floppy disk. Do they still make computers with the floppy drives, man?
They
I don't
do.
know. That's a legit question. I've never owned a computer.
You can purchase those drives still. I was literally thinking about adding one to mine because I needed it.
That's what I figured. External drive.
Exactly, external ones with USB plugins you can today now. Yeah, for sure.
Hell yeah. I got a 4 terabyte external hard drive from a PS4, which I never use anymore.
Yes, Dazzling. I saw Scott jumped in here for a second. I went to go invite him and he left right away. So not much time I was given there, but that's okay. We've already spoken a good amount today about Evernote and the Hoax sidechain. But still cool that he had joined and saw the title there. Going back to what you were saying though, Bob, about this change that's coming, and I really do think, like, in the sense of like a distributed ledger system or a distributed hosting ledger system, like an Evernote, where anybody can act as a host. Anybody can run decentralized applications, renting the hardware from these hosts. This is like the future that I see, where even in the sense of like your Web 2 applications, thinking about domains, right? If you could host the domains from somebody who created domain addresses in an application on an Evernote platform, you could have decentralized, just like something like a Unstoppable Domains existing on an Evernote hosting platform. And I think that's cool, especially when you think about what we were talking about, the domains before.
They have them.
What'd you say?
They have them. You think they wouldn't have the concept of it, or offer the concept, or even hint towards the concept without knowing everything about it, having done it over and out 10 times, knowing everything about it before they even attempt to give it to us?
I completely agree.
Check this out, man. As far as to our technologies and how much we can do. Now, I learned this like 2013, I think. I was watching TV, and I've never seen it again. It was a technology show on debuting new technologies and stuff, and it was pretty cool. And then the whole room got quiet. When one dude came out, just raised his hand, the whole room got quiet. And this old man walked up there. I say old, in his 60s probably. And he said, I'll answer one question. And he pointed to a woman, and she said, what do you, she said something to the lines of like, where do you see our technology progressing with this? And he said, I'm going to stop you right there. Anything you think you can think of or want to try and build, we have built it. We have it. We have all the technology you could think you want. And they went to say something. He said, I'll say it one more time. He repeated what he said, and he walked off the stage, and they killed the cameras. You can't even find that show on YouTube or nowhere anymore, man.
Is that Dan Penna?
I don't know. I've never seen that man before, and I've never seen him again.
You gotta take everything.
He looked kind of albino, but almost like, like older guys got the blue in their cheeks. Like a lot of the old drunks got the red cheeks with the blue veins, but he had a lot of veins, and he had a very soft voice, and he walked like very stiff, but he made a point, and everybody shut the fuck up.
Yes, and even if like mathematics, right? When you think of do we discover mathematics or create mathematics? And so my answer would be just discover. We are rediscovering or re-engineering these possibilities that have already been possibilities.
I think they're already there, but we're not giving them. That's why our technologies are limited, right? I mean, this is containment for a reason. No matter what people want to think about it, you can't leave whatever this is. Well, I tell you what, man, let me step out here, get back over to my weed man real quick before we start this talk, because I won't be stoned for this conversation.
Oh, I didn't realize what you said before, but now I realize it.
No, I gotta, for real, my mind works so fast and I talk and I slur, I gotta slow down so I can converse with people. And I'm bad at interrupting, and I'm bad at running on, and just tell me to shut up, man.
Oh, you're fine, Bob. Don't even worry about it. Listen, just I'm gonna end the space in a couple of minutes anyway. So,
all right, well, good seeing you again. I sent you a friend request.
Cool. And
yeah, I haven't seen you since my other profile.
Correct. Yeah, it was the other profile.
Yeah, it was instead of Saphiro at Bob, it was Bob at Saphiro. But Signal Corp's got that. If y'all know how to work a computer, you can find all that information on the Doggo site. I'll see y'all later.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for coming, man. Shwamos, man, what I let you up against my own good reconnaissance there, but reconnaissance, no, that's not the right word I was looking for, actually. Anyway, Dazzling, go ahead though, and then Shwamos, if you would like to speak.
Yeah, man, I've got a coffee now. I'm stoked. Just a closing question. So I saw the other day that Interledger were running an XRPL validator, and I'm just curious to get your thoughts as to why they might be doing
that. Can you say that again? Sorry.
So I noticed the other day that Interledger were running an XRPL validator, and I'm just curious to know kind of what their kind of reason would be behind doing something like that.
Oh yeah, I saw that the other day. Well, Shamos.
Hi guys.
Oh my gosh. Hello, Shamos.
How are you guys? You doing good?
I'm doing well, my friend. Are you gonna behave yourself today, or you just fooling around?
You guys, actually, I say the truth. I'm telling what people are digging for.
Well, you're just giving the people what they want, huh, Shamos?
Yeah, because people who was on the space with Angie today, we figure out about that Ripple Fox is Ripple, and we found the wallet who is dumping the market. I shared on my tweet. You can go and check my tweet and check the address of the ledger, and
I
you will
will.
find the truth, guys.
I will. I will definitely do that after this space for sure.
People was surprised about this. Ripple Fox is Ripple. Is in China.
Oh, it's in China.
Yes.
I don't know if I understand anything that's probably going on right now. But I do thank you for coming up and being polite at least today.
Guys, just go and dig after Ripple Fox and check my address. That's all. The address I shared. Thank you. Bye. I'm leaving.
I hope you have a good rest of the day, Shromos. Oh, he's already left out. All right. Dazzling. What was the question again, bud? I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. No, it's all good. Yeah, so Interledger are running an XRP validator.
Correct.
Yeah, just curious to know what their intentions would be to kind of. I mean, there's no incentive is the best incentive in regards to running one and stuff like that. But yeah, it just doesn't. It just seems kind of weird that they might do something like that.
I wouldn't say it's weird. I mean, there's a possibility that they've been running a ledger or previous ledgers for a significant period of time. When we say Interledger, it's good because it's Interledger, the foundation, right? Not the protocol. Obviously, doesn't run a ledger or do anything. It's just a protocol. But to me, it makes a lot of sense, especially if there are people who are building connectors that are in association with the Interledger protocol that may want some sort of value transfer while using it, right? Because the Interledger protocol was designed with one of the modes to be able to use the XRP ledger for value exchange. It makes sense because maybe they want a quicker source of information if they're running more than just a validator. Maybe they're running a node also and a full history in the long term. And then if they do, I mean, it makes a lot of sense for them to be a member of the UNL. They've been a long-standing body and organization that's been working towards the connection of all distributed ledger technology for a significant period of time already. So it makes a lot of sense to me. I think that they came out and said it publicly says two things to me. A, they're serious about it, and B, give me a spot on the UNL. That's kind of what it says to me. That was a great question. McQuack, what are you thinking?
Honestly, I'm thinking about Anchor and Flare right now, and RPCs, and yeah, that's what I'm thinking about right now.
Why RPCs? Remote call?
Yeah, like so they can like basically interact without like knowing that it's a remote place. Yeah, I was just gonna ask you that. What do you think of Anchor and Flare's partnership there?
I don't know if I think of it as any significance. I mean, the Flare Foundation, and also what is the company? The LLC. I forgot the name. It's Flare something. I can't remember it off the top of my head right now. They have definitely been trying to make as many partnerships, and that they've sold equity in the company itself. Oh man, why can't I remember its name right now? It's not. I'm gonna look it up. It's the company though that Hugo has said, which I thought was a little strange, but he came out and said, right, F assets are being built by a third party company, and then it comes out that he is the CEO of this third party company named Flare something.
I think it was Flare Labs.
Was it Flare Labs?
That's their public facing name, at least on their Twitter, and looking into that.
You might be correct though. Actually, I think you are right. Actually, now that I think about it.
Yeah, I'm basically like looking at all these connection points and just trying to catch where they're all going to connect, and I don't know, like, do you know any?
In what manner do you mean this? Well, because when we talk about like a distributed ledger technology, do you mean and just the means of transacting value, or do you mean all of the possibilities of the transacting of information, tokenized assets, all of these real world capabilities that we transact in today in a digital format, but just not in a means of easy communication between systems?
The biggest thing that I'm trying to find is this paper from the BIS that hints at a unified ledger with unified liquidity, and I'm just trying to understand what they mean by that, or what they're trying to think that could be a way to unify liquidity.
Which project are you speaking about?
It was a BIS
That
project. I'll
Apple one?
post it to the top in a minute.
Yeah, I know it was BS. I actually have the video on my profile. I could grab a couple of them too that speak about exactly what you were speaking about. But the unified ledger in particular is one of the pilots that they done, where just as it said it, right, there would be a ledger that would sit in between the central banks that would be able to communicate with each other. And so allowing for each one of these sovereign nations to hold the rights to their dollars without the need to hold something like a US dollar, right? And trade in another currency while still enabling the ability to transfer value from one country cross borders to the next. Just give me 1 sec. I'm looking for that video for you.
Hey, while you're looking for something, Death, I don't know if this is hot breaking news or not, but I'm seeing a lot of people tweeting about or Xing about the U.S. Federal Reserve clarifying a process for banks to transact in stablecoins. I just posted it to the top. It's cool. We have money here too. I don't know what the significance is, but it's kind of like trending right now in different spots.
Yeah, I mean that's cool and also makes sense, but this is more of a hey, you should probably do this before you go off and do a stablecoin. They don't have the legal authority to enforce that, although I do think something very similar to that is going to be written into the law. That almost zero question in my mind do I think that stablecoin issuers should not only fall under the purview of banks and financial institutions, but should also have to comply with all the regulatory and license requirements that those financial institutions have to incur. And on top of that, if you're going to provide a digital format of this token, I think it really makes a lot more sense to, if you're not going to hold one-to-one to what you have, to at least have liquid assets or equivalent. But yeah, makes a lot of sense. Why they say it today, I'm not sure. I posted Project Meridian up top, but I don't think it's actually the unified ledger one that we were speaking about. Oh, at this point, there's been so many pilots. I kind of have to go over everything again and look at my notes. Just give me a sec, though. I know the videos on my media. I'm pretty sure he mentions it in this video as well here. Augustin Carson. I should have said his name, sorry. And feel free, guys, if you guys want to speak while I'm looking for this video, I mean, please feel free to speak.
Well, I was literally looking at Project Meridian, but then I found a little snippet and I would like to read it out. The scope of a ledger will also determine relevant players that must be involved in governance arrangements. Separate ledgers could be connected through the application program interfaces, APIs, or their scope expands through time. I'm just wondering what ledger could connect APIs as well as liquidity that they're talking about.
Well, I mean, when it comes to connecting APIs, I could build an application that connects or pulls information and shoots information at all of the different APIs on different distributed ledger technologies. When you start talking about the transfer of value, changes this complete equation, right? Because I don't trust you, you don't trust me, and so we need a system that can sit in between us that we both trust, that we know that is going to have the exchange of value go across it unbiasedly. And Chris, I'm glad you're in here, man. Even though if you can't come up, I know it's very late for you. Oh, that's cool. Welcome up, Chris.
Hey, I've just got off of Treasury, and I saw your invite, and I thought I'll jump on for the last part of your show before I turn in for the evening. Hope everyone's doing well.
Yeah, well today, man. Thank you for coming. And I was actually going to close it up like 10, 15 minutes ago, but we started getting into a more great discussion. We spoke a lot about Evernote and hooks earlier. I actually had Scott pop into this space for just a couple minutes. I mean, he popped out too quick. I wasn't even able to invite him up. But if there's anything you'd like to speak about in particular off the top of your mind, please feel free to.
I don't have anything that's burning, to be honest. Just say hi to lots of people I can see that I know. Hey Zara, Vet, Dazzling, loads of people further down as well. No, I don't have anything particularly to add. I just jumped in to support you. I think the spaces you do are great, and yeah, just thought I'd pop in and say hi.
Thank you, man. Well, back to what you were saying, KJ, before. I think you had another question or something to add on to it.
Well, the only other thing I saw, and I don't know how super reliable, it was Zero Hedge that was also saying that the ETFs are a done deal, but I didn't think that the Fed had that jurisdiction, or maybe that was just speculation. It sounds like what you're recapping with is it's just we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, it shows that they're on board and wanting to, like, if they're saying we want to set up a supervisory board, right? This is them saying, Congress, hurry up. We want to take part in this. We want to help. And maybe it's written that they aren't able to participate. I mean, these are also questions. Maybe there's a third organization or agency that gets created, a digital asset agency. It's very possible, but
that's what I keep thinking about. This whole movie we've been watching, showing that the SEC is just ill-equipped, and that's putting it nicely to really effectively manage this whole emerging space. And I keep wondering, like, who is going to be that new regulatory body?
Yeah, and when it comes to the ETFs, that's all the SEC right there. I mean, they approve or deny those.
Yeah, that's what I thought. It's interesting that Congress is out this month too. I'm not sure, what that means, but they're pretty much on vacation this month, right?
Vacation, yes, correct. Until I think it's halfway into September. I found the video I was looking for. All right, so Hyun Song Shin, he goes into it, and this video is a bit long. I think it's a little over an hour, but he really breaks down all of the different dynamics and things that he sees in the positives and negatives of using distributed ledger technology, and they go into the unified ledger a little bit. Chris, thank you for raising your hand. Go ahead, man.
Hey, just when you were just talking then about regulations, and I know I've caught the tail end of the conversation. One of the things that is a little frustrating from my perspective, being in the UK, is the effect that some of the things that happen with the SEC in the US and the effects that they have on the entire market. In the UK, we have I suppose we're one step ahead in terms of regulation, but we're not. Things here are definitely still not right, and there is a huge lack of understanding. I feel at an international level over what all of this stuff is, and when you get into the real weeds of some of the discussions around this, I just don't think any single country is equipped to deal with this situation because cryptocurrencies and blockchain is not governed by boundaries in the way that things have been done traditionally in the past, and I think there needs to just be more recognition of the fact that any country that's going to try and get a handle on this in their own siloed manner is probably going to end up making things worse. We've just seen what the SEC have effectively done to the XRP community. Whatever their intentions, good or bad, they've effectively decimated thousands, tens of thousands of people's, you could lives is probably over egging it, but anybody that was putting money into XRP with the hope that they might make some money, they've had that robbed through what the actions of the SEC, and many of them don't reside in the US. So the SEC's attempts to protect people has actually harmed people internationally, and so I think that the only real true solution to this is from people from within the crypto space to rise, and hope that there can be international collaboration on a sensible framework for how this kind of stuff is going to get governed in the future. And the sad fact is, it's likely to take a decade or more to actually achieve. And in the meantime, I just get concerned about the harm that's being done by these agencies. It's not obviously limited to the US. They're just clearly one of the bigger countries that have got the more newsworthy issues right now. I just think it's a real shame for this emerging technology that we're hindered by a lack of understanding and almost like a lack of willingness for countries to work closer together and work faster, and where we could be with this type of technology if everyone would just move a bit faster. And it's just
Hey,
super
Chris,
frustrating.
great point. Do you think that the BRICS moves they're making will help kind of give the G7 West, whatever you want to call it, a bit of a kick in the arse?
I personally don't. But Chris, I'd like to hear your thought.
No, I don't think so. I think that, it's obviously everybody has their opinions of the SEC. If you're in crypto, they're not exactly well liked. But I think the US tends to move at its own pace, and I don't think anything any other country does is going to make a whole lot of difference. I think the US are going to do whatever they want, and the only way in which they're going to fall in line and play with the rest of the world nicely is that they're going to have to feel some pain. And I think that pain is likely to come if they don't start to do more sensible things. And the best way now for us to get proper international collaboration on this and make sensible regulation at an international scale would be for the US to get clattered a bit. And I think if they feel some pain as a result of the real big players moving out, I think that will shake them up. And I think that genuinely it's in their own interest then to start to look at sensible laws and working more with international partners. But as it stands, I don't honestly think that the SEC are they're showing no signs to me of caring at all about anything any other country's doing. They just seem hell bent on pushing their agenda. But of course, I'm not from the US. I'm from the UK, and so I only get to see what I hear, from the news sources that I pick it from. So maybe I don't have a rounded enough view, but I do know lots of people from the US who are equally as frustrated about it as I am. So, yeah, I don't honestly think it's going to make any difference either. As I agree with you, Death.
Yeah, and if it was just distributed ledger technology that we had evolving today and the means of the technological advancements that we see being distributed, I would have said I agree that it's still going to take the means of a decade, couple decades, right? Because the incumbents are going to fight the evolution and the adoption of this technology tooth and nail. However, I think the pain happens no matter what, and the replacement and the involvement of these systems being integrated into the everyday are an inevitability, not just because of distributed ledger technology, but the means of autonomous robotics and cybernetics that are coming out in the next 5 years or so. This will force the hand of the change to be taken, and I think this fuels a lot of this adoption of these new tools that have been being created. And Shwamos, thank you very much for raising your hand. Feel free to speak.
Okay. Guys, I want to address this question to Mr. Chris. Chris, can you please? I'm looking for an answer for that. Okay, since now 2 days, and a lot of people from my community agreed with me. Can you give us an answer about RippleFox? I just pinned it now on my tweets, and I also pinned the address of the wallet. Check it, please. So this is something going on. It's like they're creating contracts every minute of 1 million XRP. And
I don't know if I recommend anybody to click on that website.
Okay, just check the wallet. Check the wallet on the XRPL.
We can.
That's all.
We can check the wallet. Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah, check the wallet, please. And you will see that the wallet, it's connected to domain it's connected to domain RippleFox, and RippleFox is Ripple, and RippleFox is located in China. And RippleFox is the one who is controlling the price of XRP.
Controlling the price, so on every single exchange and market?
Yes.
Oh, that's a big job there, Shwamos. Are you sure?
I swear to you, I found that the wallet is connected to Bitstamp. It's connected to a lot of exchanges. I don't know why people are laughing and smiling. I pinned it on my tweet. Check the wallets right now, guys. You will be surprised.
You give me a little bit. I will check the wallet and I will let you know. All right.
The way I did it, I sold my XRP. I sold like 20,000 of XRP to see where my XRP is going. I track it, and the result I got, it was amazing.
I don't know if it works like that, Shwamos. I'm sorry.
Okay, check, and then let me know.
Well, I mean,
was it Ripple Fox or Ripple Fox?
Ripple Fox.
Oh,
RippleFox.com.
RippleFox.com. Don't forget the .com. No, if you were to sell it on an exchange, as it's not a transaction that actually occurs on the ledger itself, unless the exchange is to send it to a different wallet or you were to take it off of the exchange. Typically, when you sell it on an exchange, it just sits on their database. And so,
check the wallet. You understand everything. That's all.
Yeah, I could definitely check the wallet though. I'll take a look.
Are you doing that now in real time, Death, or are you going to be doing that later in your spare time?
No, I'm going to do that.
That account he's showing has been showing offers for CNY, and what he's talking about, the connections to the different exchanges is what that exchange was used to activate that address. Anybody can open an account from Bitstamp and activate an account from any exchange. That's how it shows the connections from the activation of these different accounts. But yeah.
Oh, he got lost in the just clicking back of all the transactions you could possibly, because you'll eventually go to the Genesis wallet.
Yeah, so when you look at the say even if the transaction just shows all the transaction, and it actually shows that it's been offering a lot of CNY tokens. But if you look at its ancestry, it will show its ancestry all the way down to the pretty much the well the beginning of the XRPL. Well, after the Genesis blocks situation.
Look at that, Shwamos. 808, look that up in real time. Do you feel better about it now, Shwamos?
No, I don't. You don't understand me, guys. I don't know. I don't understand me, guys. I think I'm too smart than you guys.
Okay. Maybe so. Welcome to the space, Solomon. How you doing today?
Good, man. Tired, busy. Good panel up here today, man. So I know we've got Chris up here dazzling everybody else. So, yeah.
Yeah, 808. I didn't even realize you actually came up here. That was quick. Smooth, man. Glad you're up here, too.
I just stumbled on, I was watching, it's always interesting to see, like, you know, obviously, like, you know, some of these, like, layer ones, like, put out, videos around proof of concepts and they're like super dry, stuff like that. I was watching through the Hedera one today and, I just siphoning through stuff. And I saw it like 40 minutes in. Siam Commercial Bank, Shinhan Bank, which is South Korea's largest bank, and Standard Bank, which is like the largest lender in South Africa, literally using Hashpack. So, you know, some of you guys that might be in Hedera or HBAR understand what Hashpack wallet is. It's just a wallet, right? But these guys really do a lot of, you know, great work. And I saw that literally those banks are utilizing Hashpack like on the testnet. I messaged Mark from Hashpack and I'm like, do you realize that this is actually happening right now? And he's like, we had no fucking idea. So it's so crazy to see like what's actually being used from these banking entities from like the infrastructure standpoint. So all sorts of shit. So that was interesting to me today. So.
That's it. That's why I like to call this space a POC, right? A proof of concept, because all of the concepts that are being derived and built and finalized here can easily be either utilized or replicated by all of these different side systems that can then interconnect with each other.
Well, what's, you know, XRP mainnet is always an interesting thing because obviously pretty much okay, so if you think about where a lot of these proof of concepts are occurring from the wallet purview standpoint on the XRPL, most of them have to be occurring through some sort of way, right? Like what else would they be potentially using? Unless they're using like just the software aspect, but you have to incorporate the wallet aspect in some regard, right?
Yeah, they would either you know reach out to like a zone or build their own, and I'm not sure if you saw also the 2 new wallets that are coming to the community, the XRP Ledger.
Well, I know what's the one, because the one, and I forget the name of it, but it's like the MetaMask browser aspect.
Yeah, Crossmark, and
yeah.
also Gem Wallet. Also,
what's the other one? I don't know about the other one.
Gem Wallet. I do not have enough. I know the creator of it, but I don't have enough information on the wallet still yet. It's still. I don't think anything has really been public.
Yeah. Well, Crossmark, the guy from Crossmark was down at the down a consensus at the XRP zone type aspect, and I wanted to do an interview with him, but I stumbled across David Schwartz, so obviously did that interview. But I definitely still want to talk to the Crossmark guy because that's amazing. Like to have something like the XRPL integrated into the normal things that we would see within MetaMask, you know, when you add in Polygon or Avalanche, whatever else you're adding in, it's a huge use case. So,
yeah, well, I mean, the biggest thing for us today is like, other than being able to create the account and have the reserve, right? Every transaction you do, say I want to go purchase an NFT off of XRP Cafe, I have to pull my phone out. I have to scan the QR code. Then I have to sign the transaction or put my code in and then sign the transaction. Having a wallet like this in the web browser, boom, you hit buy, push notification gets sent right to the wallet, and then it just simplifies it, just like you said, right? Just that MetaMask experience, right? I want that, boom, bought it, done.
Why is there not more MetaMask competition, if in anyone's opinion?
they had a ton of funding to start off with. I mean, Infra, right? As we know today, Infra and Consensus were funded by J.P. Morgan, and they had millions of dollars. And then on top of that, they went around and also sold Ethereum as an ICO for Bitcoin. And so, who knows how much money and tokens they held from that they sold over time. It makes sense, right? They probably had hundreds of devs that helped build this original coding, where we see like a team of 4 to 5 people who like have to kill themselves to try and even come close.
Sorry, upon further look at
Thank
those
you.
two
Yeah,
I
accounts,
think
Death.
XRP is already built into MetaMask. Just to let you guys know.
Well, no, you wouldn't be able to use.
No, it's on. So you'd have to bridge it. You're gonna bridge it to.
Oh, a wrap version of that on.
No, it's not a wrap. It's not a wrap version of it. So like how they've done it with the metaverse. So you know how XRP has that metaverse project right now, right? So basically, how they've done it is there's a bridge that bridges XRP over to what's called the root network. So in essence, it is there. So I don't know if they're going to add an extension to put native XRP onto MetaMask, but they have a way to bridge it over into other networks.
It still would be just an IOU wrapped version of it on the other network. But you're saying that MetaMask allows you. See, the question would be, is the initial transaction on the XRP ledger sending that to whoever the custodian is? That's probably not able to be done on a MetaMask today. And not that I don't want it to be. I mean, we've
no, but you're not going from, you're going to MetaMask, not from MetaMask, right? So initially so initially to bring it in, you would have your native, let's say Zoom wallet, right? You connect to the bridging website, right? So you connect to the website that allows you to bridge. You scan the QR code, and then you bridge your XRP over, right, to your wallet on that network.
Yeah, but it's still wrapped.
Exactly. Yeah. So what's being done is you're sending your XRP to somebody, and then they're sending you the IOU version of it back. But the only access to their network where you can access the token is in your MetaMask wallet. Right. So I understand. I understand what you're saying. Just the action of it, what is actually occurring.
Yeah.
And Chris,
you don't see it being wrapped. It just looks like native XRP on the other network.
Well, yeah, I mean, wrapped is just the terminology for an IOU, basically.
But I would guess that you would still see it as WXRP or something like that.
No, I have it here right now. I'm looking at it right now. It just says XRP. It's native XRP on that.
Yeah, if you're if you're using MetaMask, then you're not interacting with the XRP ledger.
Correct.
Okay. So bottom line, it's not XRP. It is not XRP, and MetaMask does not support the XRP ledger in a native way, and that's the reason why Crossmark is so cool, because a lot of people really wish MetaMask did support it properly. You can bridge, sure. There's lots of solutions around that. I personally would never do that, and now we're going to have something like Crossmark available. Then you're going to get native features. So when you connect a Crossmark to the XRPL ledger and you transfer some money, there's no bridges. You are actually using real XRP and you're sending it across the XRPL ledger, and you can see that transaction on BitHump, and that's real usage of XRP on the XRP ledger. But that's not what I've raised my hands for.
Right, Chris?
Yeah.
But I'm not so sure MetaMask is not working on having native XRP in MetaMask.
Well, I would love
that. Actually working on it.
They may be working on trying to do something. I mean, there's technically no limitation. I mean, it's just a piece of software that could interact with the mainnet directly if they wanted to. But what you described today, to my understanding, at a technical level, it is not natively, unless there's been a major change within the last couple of months that I don't know.
No. What I described is Ripple's latest venture into the metaverse and how the current transactions are working, not how they're going to look in the future. I'm just explaining how the current transactions are working? Because their XRP is the gas token for that
We're
So
talking
yeah,
about Futureverse.
but
environment.
Futureverse has been funded by multiple ecosystems. It's not just Ripple. I mean, Ripple might have been one of the main funding participants. From my understanding from the Root Network, it's its own thing.
Yeah, no, I have the funding list. I know exactly who was funded it from the beginning. It started with this Asian American investor. I have the list. I know who's been funding it and their dollar amount.
Well, yeah, that's great. I mean, but you're saying that XRP is natively going to be used as gas. Is that, they've got multiple assets within there? Okay.
No, that's fact. That's in the white paper. You can see it in the white paper.
Okay, great.
Hey, assuming.
Sorry, go ahead, KJ.
Well, just a quick one. Assuming MetaMask does develop support that passes the mustard test as far as, security, is any more or less faith required with a MetaMask wallet versus like a Zoom or some other software app wallet?
That's why I put my hand up, actually, because that was, I remember, this is a long time ago now, I remember reading something that Weitzer wrote around the evolution of Sum, and the reason that he chose not to build a desktop version of Sum and why one doesn't exist. And it was more around his concerns around security. So I'm all for, the Crossmark, absolutely. I'm also for other wallets. I am supportive of multiple wallets within the XRPL ecosystem. But again, every right tool for the right job. So in my own view, I will have my XRP in a combination of cold storage. I will have it on Sum, and when Crossmark is usable from my perspective, I'll have a small amount in that, and I'll use the tool for the job. So, like Death said, it would be much more convenient to have a little plugin in your browser. So if you are going to just quickly buy something, that you can do it much more efficiently, and you don't need to pull your phone out your pocket. So there is a benefit to that, but there's a limit to how far I would use that. And I would be concerned about connecting a browser-based plugin to a wallet that had a more significant amount of XRP in it. So I'd probably have multiple wallets, and I would have them connected in a way that was within my own sort of like risk tolerance. I certainly wouldn't be connecting up like a wallet with everything I got into a browser-based plugin. Just based on my own knowledge of the potential security risk around that, I wouldn't personally feel comfortable. It'd be a long time before I did. Not that I'm by any stretch saying there's anything wrong with it. I'm just saying it's the right tool for the job, and I think there's absolutely a need for it, and I think it's great that somebody's building it, and I really look forward to sort of like seeing it when it is available. But I raised my hand because I just wanted to say that I think it's great to see that Crossmark are building it. I think it's great to see Gem also in the space, and I think it'll be good for the XRPL generally.
I'll be interviewing
Thanks, Chris.
Futureverse and Fluff World tomorrow, so I'm excited to ask them about the native XRP being used as a gas token and seeing what they say about that. But yeah, that will be tomorrow.
You have Shara and Aaron, or you're gonna have just are you gonna have Alex, or who are you gonna have tomorrow?
There's two individuals, so I think Mo Meta is coming up, and I think it's, if I remember correctly, it's Ben, who's like ecosystem development. So
yeah, I know them both.
Okay.
Mo Meta is he's representing the root part of the network.
Yep.
And I think
he's platform marketing, I guess.
For the root network. So there's two aspects. There's the root network, and then there's Futureverse. The Meta is the root network representative.
It makes sense if they're in their application, they make the payment mechanism have to be, well, it wouldn't be native XRP, but the wrap version of XRP. I mean, I guess I could see that being a possibility and kind of attractive for.
It can never be native, I mean, that's the thing.
Only if it's on the XRP ledger, it could be
Exactly. Yeah.
XRP ledger native. But 808, you had your hand up, man, and I don't want to be rude to you, so please feel free to jump in.
Oh no, I just was gonna ask because the last time I checked, how they worded it, it was saying that the gas token and how it's designed for the base liquidity of the block rewards. They have partnered with Ripple and the XRPL to provide the base block rewards in the form of XRP. I just was wondering if anyone in this audience knows of how does it go about doing that process of providing that liquidity for something that is not a proof of stake is very interesting to me.
My thoughts around it, and Mobetta can confirm tomorrow, you can ask him the question, are that they have an allotment of XRP that they have for the block rewards that they'll be distributing out. And if you want to, then most likely, and just confirm this with him because I'm not actually sure, when you get the block rewards and let's say you want to sell them on an exchange, you'll have to bridge it over to your wallet, right, from the root network, and then you can sell it. Does that make sense to you?
So first in-chain gas fee exchange, so you can exchange their gas fees within their own ecosystem and then move it from their own ecosystem outside, but you have to switch it from whatever the thing is to the system's token. Is that what you're saying?
It'll be on the root network, right? So they have their own Solidity based blockchain, right? So it'll be on Solidity, and then from the root network you will, and this is just my guess because that's what it looks like when I'm looking at it, because the tokens look to be have the initial root on them, so they're like root XRP. So you bridge it out of the root network over to the XRPL when you get the block reward.
I've got to ask if native fees within that metaverse are paid in XRP, and XRP is not a Solidity-based chain or has anything to do with Ethereum. How are the gas fees going to be paid?
It has nothing. No, it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with Ethereum. They actually paused a lot of the stuff that's going on the network because of Ethereum gas fees. So
I'm just curious how native gas fees are paid in XRP on a network that might be dealing in Solidity.
They are converted, Solomon. They are converted.
Yes,
so
it's like a bridged over wrapped version of XRP that they have a lot of.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It's basically you have like the fee in their token or whatever, but it is converted into like XRP, and the conversion is either like there is a pool of it, that they're using, and basically it's draining, and they just kind of burn.
So again, it's just not native XRP. It's just a version.
It's never going to be native. So this is kind of how they do it. They have a user's application guide to where it shows who the developers can delegate and pays fees on behalf of users, and developers can set up a liquidity pool between their native token and the gas token network. No validators can receive these gas tokens as a reward for producing blocks for, so example, if you're coming on from Ethereum network or whoever's onboarded from the ASAM or the ASTO, users they can use their Silo wallet and do it by default, and vice versa to the XRPL.
It's definitely an interesting setup.
It's an interesting approach, and for what they are trying to do, in my opinion, you can always think of is your own chain not better? And it for me makes sense. It makes definitely sense because if you need to do any adjustments, you can do that because it's your chain.
It's not
anything else. It's perfect.
It's not just that it's your own chain. You have to think of the metaverse as having its own unique user cases and gameplay, right? That you have to create a customized blockchain to work and adapt for.
That's why they have their own chain.
That's how I kind of see Futureverse.
Much easier to do that with $50 million in funding, huh?
They're like a big hub for.
It's a bit easier.
Like how Gala is.
Actually, they have $152 million in funding. That 50
Yeah,
million is
probably
only
tokens.
the, huh?
Probably the tokens.
No, they have $152 million in funding. So they did, this is not the first Series A that they gave. So if you go to Crunchbase, you can see, actually Crunchbase has a lot of irregular data. Irregular data. They show ICO when they actually received funding from a few different investors. Some gave 10, some gave 30, some gave 40. So there's multiple investors that got Series A funds that funded it in a Series A round. So you can see it on Crunchbase. Even before Ripple came onto the platform.
Yeah, it's interesting, definitely the moves that they are doing. Like I like, maybe you go. I mean, it's not something you probably is interesting to touch on in the interview, but they partner with Cool Cats, which is really interesting. You know, is a very known brand on ETH. That's definitely a cool move. They exchanged even board memberships. That's definitely interesting. Yeah, I'm curious how they gonna acquire even more. Maybe that's.
Yeah,
I
they
mean, they
have a
have the
guy from
funding.
Sotheby's. They have a guy from Sotheby's on the board. They have some ex-Google guys on the board. Pretty strong board.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with that sort of funding, it's definitely easier to have a strong board.
It helps, that's for sure.
Yeah.
But even that being said, I mean, don't get me wrong. Metaverse to me is more just a terminology, failed terminology to revamp virtual reality. I definitely see a lot of use cases where distributed ledger technology can integrate in the form of representations of items that could be owned inside of a game, or a like a sim world or a multiverse world, I guess, virtual reality world, or the means of payments. But past that, I kind of struggle to see the advantages of how we say like I built this on the XRP ledger, or I built this on HBAR, right? It's like you've built your own thing, and then you're integrating into that,
Yeah.
or you're using the APIs of the said chain.
Exactly.
But
Personally, there's just one metaverse if you want to talk. If this is metaverse for you, because this is gamified, and I'm personally looking forward to it. It's like its other side. I'm curious towards it definitely because what they are doing is really interesting. It's gonna be out very soon, and they have been shipping like these small games in between. And I've been listening to the folks who are leading all of this. I mean, of course, it's coming from the Bored Apes, the founders. They are on the board, and they are really into internet culture and all this. So this is an interesting touch to have, 100%. Definitely more from where I would come from. The meme culture. But they got the CEO of what was it, Activision Blizzard. They have the CTO was at the Epic Games, behind Fortnite. And,
That's the one I'm very focused on
this
too.
engine. Yes, yeah. So
They have a
I'm
lot
really looking
of
forward to that.
developers from oh shit, I forget that name. The game now. It was a big one too. That was an open world. Grand Theft Auto.
It's Active. Oh, okay. No, because one of the guys from Activision is on the board as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's like so Yuga raised. I mean, they do other stuff, but they do other stuff too. They raised just, I think it's the highest funds that they raised in Web3 so far is like 400 million from A16Z at the 4 billion valuation, and that was, I mean, to be fair, at the peak of all of this, so they had that really good timing, I guess. But still, it's a huge, like they have massive funding.
What I've been
massive
seeing
valuation.
lately, been getting pushed a lot stronger within the gaming industry is Epic Games. Epic Games been forefront with a lot of these different technologies, especially being creative of Fortnite.
Ubisoft?
Yeah, Ubisoft. Yeah. Epic Games, Ubisoft, Unreal Engine. They open sourced Unreal Engine and now has been forefront in going and allowing a lot of these different gaming companies and even the smaller smaller developers started to build games that's Unreal. Like there's this one open world game that's tied to Naruto, and it's built by one person using Unreal Engine, and he created a whole world where people can literally build their own things and create a whole ecosystem within it, but it's still yet in beta. But I like the one you were talking
Yeah.
about too, because who is behind it, what they're building towards, and how it's being built, and how very detailed it is, to the point where the software they're using to build these games is very intricate. I see a lot of gaming developing out there that's using just skins of what's already there created, where there's
Yeah.
actually, they just pretty much copy a standard of that image, and they just put a little bit here and there to make it their own, which a lot of these people creating these metaverses are saying that they're creating their metaverses are just copying these different skins and using it as their own and saying it's their own. And so there's a lot of them. I would say 99%
Yeah.
of them that's doing it is actually doing that. There's a lot of things within the using these different softwares to build these games, which they already have built-in technology to provide a lot of the things for people to make it easier, which is another thing that has gotten easier, is building these metaverses in games where you have plugins where you just can easily create these things quite quickly. But it's pretty cool because the finance side of things and how people can get ahead to kind of create these things is a lot easier in a sense, but also can get scammy in a lot of ways. And people like to use things to their
I mean, it's
advantage.
yeah. Look for me, it's ownership. And of course, this is how they incorporate blockchain. It's ownership. It's all the finance aspect, and that you can use these things in a very versatile way outside of what you are doing. This is the cool thing. You have this asset on you just earned it. You can go to any marketplace, sell it. You can do whatever with it you want.
How I
You can
used to
collect it,
envision a lot of this is
and
like how you were saying these
that's cool.
assets. I mean, like there was never a way for anybody within a game to get money back for how much money they put in. At one point, there was never
Yeah.
downloadable content where you had to pay for. It was always there within the first purchase of your game. You had
Oh,
later on in the
dude,
years,
if
downloadable content was free, and then all of a sudden you
if
had to pay then
I mean,
subscriptions.
if I think I had, on like League of Legends and Counter Strike Go, like especially with League of Legends, I started playing when the beta was out. I mean, dude, it's not much, but there's definitely some money that
Money,
is
not much.
forever
Hey,
there locked
bro,
up
for
that I will never
like
It's
get it
got
back.
to.
just for
I know
one game
Vet. I know
skin.
Vet. You mentioned the metaverse aspects with Yuga and Other Side and everything
Yeah,
that the Bored Apes guys have done kind of after the
yeah.
fact. Um, has anybody down here participated in anything on Ethereum? Even the Other Side sale?
Yes.
Did
Yeah.
you okay?
No, I
Hold
did
on. Let
not.
me finish my thought process here because you did participate in the Other Side sale, right?
No, I did not participate in the Other Side sale when it happened.
So I kind of did to an extent, and like
Yeah.
you know what the gas fees look like to even fucking
Oh, dude.
participate, dude. I ate $12,000 fucking dollars to buy one
It
deed in
was
Other Side. Do you think that as we
yeah.
get closer to mass adoption, that's going to be the end all be all within this stuff?
That's the
That's the
problem with
thing.
the blockchain and gaming
Yeah.
is the price. At the moment, you can build your own metaverse without even buying any NFTs. You can build your own game without even doing that.
Sure.
But you do have to have the means and the know-how to do it and build it.
Oh yeah, but
Look,
it has to be
everybody
about
knows.
and I totally agree with what Crypto Beast just said. But it has to be at some point as we get closer to mass adoption. It has to be about inclusivity, and there's a gigantic revenue model around inclusivity as well. And the problem with Ethereum, even regardless of who they've onboarded, if it's always going to be the old boys club being able to participate, then they're never going to be able to reach mass adoption because they're always going to silo
Right.
themselves around the
Right.
same fucking people that have money to
And
participate.
But
that's
this
what
is why you need
stifled
gaming.
that's what stifled the first movement of blockchain and gaming, because of that how it was being pushed out in the beginning, and people weren't really diving deep and trying to understand what blockchain now I'm saying, not crypto, I'm talking about blockchain. What blockchain can do for the metaverse and gaming is unreal. What it can provide and allow users like you and I, people with no money, or hardly any money, but they love to play games and whatnot, and I know a lot of them. And everybody here knows the gaming industry is vast, but it's what blockchain
Look,
can do for the gaming industry and the people.
gaming is perfect. Gaming as an entry is perfect for this. You can host like $10 million, whatever, $20 million tournaments on Twitch, get all the streamers on. You can ramp up stuff very quick and see like what League of Legends and all these other big Valorant and all these big games did. And I
Do you
think
think, Vet, from the
that's
gaming
a good
purview, when you
approach.
talk about gaming and why it's perfect? I mean, it's very easy because there's an audience down here right now. When you think about gaming or music, these are things that historically, like artists within music, don't necessarily have a one-to-one connection. They've been bastardized by the
Yeah.
bureaucracy of music. Gaming needs to be games for gamers first type aspects. At least that's my opinion. Um, is that why it's perfect? Is that blockchain technology, NFTs, things like this really do, as we kind of grow in this space and the technology develops and it becomes much more seamless for people that don't even necessarily want to or have to know how the technology works, to get a closer relationship to artists or to have more perks within games? And what does that kind of transition look like? Because we're not there yet. But is that your thought process around
Well,
why it's perfect?
that's not true. But I'll let him answer, and I'll tell you the aspect that you're missing in this. But go ahead and answer.
I think why gaming is really good with blockchain integrated is because usually these things are NFTs, and if you look at NFTs in general, they're simple to understand. They are collectibles, they are items in the game. It's not hard. It's not a hard concept. You don't need to calculate any pools or DeFi stuff in that sense. Plus, NFTs, if you look at social media, they have been continuously generating the highest amount of going viral. All these memes. If you look at Twitter, they really managed. Like, look at the Bored Apes. Like at the peak, they pushed the whole NFT narrative was really pushed deep into social media and all of this. And hey, look, the current generation is going more and more digital. They want their assets digital. Lots of wealth is digital. Nobody wants really to collect physical stuff anymore. And so I see that there is a shift to it. And plus, let's not forget it. Last but not least, is the money aspect. There is this collectible. There is this scarcity around these items or a game or whatever that you can have limited numbers, unlimited numbers, but you need it to play whatever. That is big. I mean, look at these streamers. They spend thousands, $10,000s of dollars just opening cases, opening whatever, getting then a $500 knife, and it's like woo. So this aspect of earning something is definitely big, and I think compared to incorporate this with blockchain is just a really good experience, and it's desirable in my opinion.
I think when you're looking at the metaverse and you're looking at all of these things, you don't think of it as gaming only. Think of it as um, an evolution of the internet, where the technology is making commerce more accessible and your data graph more private. And what do I mean by that? So let's take, for example, what is going on in Hollywood with like the writers' strike and Screen Actors Guild strike. Now, most of those people are on strike because they're not getting paid for streaming, right? Nobody can figure out how how somebody can have like 1 million, 2 million streams and not get paid for it, right? But with the metaverse and with NFTs and with blockchain, you make it accessible for the artist to get paid directly off of each stream. And this is something that Spotify is working on, as well as I think it's with Sound XYZ has already developed the NFT music streaming that's direct to artists. So I think they're solving a problem that they have with streaming by the use of the blockchain and NFT and creating an evolution and a new social way for people to interact when they want to stream music, when they want to get paid, because you're going direct to consumer. You don't have to You don't have to rely on a platform, right? Or you don't have to rely on a music label to figure out your cut of a stream. You can do it directly, you one-on-one with the consumer as an artist. And I think that's where we're going, and that's where this thing's going.
Yeah, and I'd like to give an example because I think you said a lot there, Money, and right, like an example, like, okay, I put my virtual reality headset on, I'm gonna go see Punk or someone you like to see, right? Some sort of concert. There was a girl I had in my head. I can't think of her name now for some reason. I'm sorry. I don't even want to. Taylor Swift. That was the thing, right? And so you walk up in your virtual setting, you open up your QR code, which is attached to the end, which is opens up your wallet, right? To scan a QR code, which is in your wallet, which is an NFT that represents the ticket that you bought to go to the concert. And so you have like all of these things simultaneously playing into each other. I hope that was an example of what
It's a good example.
Yeah,
I
no,
wanted to hear what
that's
808 had to say too, because I know that the dude actually does his research. But if you look at like the infrastructure needed to participate in like programmable NFTs, you need like a loan system, you need liquidity there. So imagine like when you're talking about that, Death, and you're talking about like attending a Taylor Swift concert, ticketing's a big issue. Obviously, Chris from BPM, these guys are trying to tackle that, from the XRPL standpoint. But you need liquidity in markets, and like, what if I don't give a shit about Taylor Swift, but whatever platform that I'm on, there's a loan protocol and a lending protocol for my NFTs to lend them out to somebody that does give a shit about Taylor Swift coming. There's a whole market and a whole economy that's like kind of being built out, right in front of our eyes. But I know that 808 had his hand up as well, and from the gamification standpoint, everything else, I was curious to hear,
I appreciate that, but I kind of lost my train of thought. But I got a new train of thought of what you just said with lending and stuff within the gaming side of things, which is another use case which is very big, especially with open world games. Like MMO RPG games, which is very monstrous in the world. There's over 1 billion people playing these different types of MMORPGs. One of them is World of Warcraft. A lot of people probably know about that one. But within that gaming system, it would allow people to use their assets that they earned, whether it's say for a scenario you need a certain item to do a certain mission or a certain quest or whatever, or to give you an access to a certain area. You could lend it out, but how you lend it out, like how you were saying, still needs to be worked out. And to also how I see blockchain benefits the space as a whole is really giving power back to the people, literally, in just real easy terms. Because before we had the power of what games we wanted to buy and what we had control within that game we bought. But as technology grew and gaming grew, there's things that we put in, say, for certain skins or certain skins for your avatar or items you use within the game. A good thing that a lot of people is looking forward to is actually having a marketplace within where you can actually, like how you were explaining, lending or sell your assets to get some kind of money back to where you can transfer to a different game or send some of your value that you had put into a game that you no longer like. You can move that value elsewhere, but it's hard too because of the centralization. There's a lot of these big name industries that has been controlling the gaming industry for quite some time, which we've seen a lot of them partner with each other. And one of the big ones that actually was the underdog before was Epic Games and Ubisoft and others and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, but it's not hard.
I gotta,
If you look under the patents of Futureverse, you'll see a patent from Altered State Machine that is basically the design for lending out assets.
Yeah, but everything that you're talking about is just XRP, which is fine.
What do you mean it's just XRP?
Everything you've talked about is like ASTO with the AI aspects around XRP and the sound thing.
It has nothing to do with XRP. What I'm talking about the patent. Okay, so remember that this metaverse in particular. You're bridging assets from Ethereum, you're bridging assets from XRP. It doesn't matter. You can bridge access. They're working on a Solana bridge. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, but working
Right?
on and doing are totally different things.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. And
Yeah.
they've implemented both bridges already for Ethereum and
Oh
for
yeah,
XRP.
I'm a big fan of what everybody's doing. I'm just saying that
Okay,
like there's
but
obtuse statements.
yeah, but what I'm specifically talking about here is what the gentleman was speaking about earlier with lending out your assets. If you look, there's a patent from Altered State Machine that specifically deals in lending out your crypto assets, your NFT assets specifically. And I'm looking for the patent right now, the patent number, so that I can give it to you guys and pin it to the top. You can read the patent. It's already it's what do they call it when it's under they're waiting for the patent office to
I gotta hop, Death. One thing I wanted to mention real quick right here, and I think 808 touched on it briefly as well, which I really do respect your viewpoints from 808 as well, because I know you do research. I think that a lot of this space, 1,000,000% of the time, we talk about people presenting gold, when a lot of the times it's going to be the people that are presenting the shovels and building out the infrastructure and that have the liquidity, that have all of these things to make these ecosystems really flourish. It's very important, because a lot of times in crypto, we look at these projects with patents or ideas, all these things, and that's fucking fantastic. But if you're building out 30 different use cases, and one of those use cases, amongst you launching something becomes creating liquidity at the back end, think about who's actually creating liquidity. Think about who's actually creating the lending protocols, things like that. I think those are very under the radar aspects that are going to propagate this ecosystem to really bootstrap and build itself out without these boom and bust cycles. And a lot of the times they're not hypey. They might not deal in marketing aspects, things like that, but I think it is certainly something that we should all be paying attention to. I gotta hop, guys. 808, I know I have you blocked, bro, but I actually really do like your fucking comments, because they're very smart. And I will talk to you guys down the line. So later, guys.
No, thank you for coming, Solomon. And we went over. I actually meant to close it at 5 today, but this was really just an excellent conversation. I really do appreciate each and every one of you guys who not only came to the space to listen today, but came up to speak, because this space wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't for the diverse amount of mindsets that come in here with all of the different perspectives and information that we have experienced and plan to experience. And so I thank you all very much so for taking part in this. And I will not be back this Thursday, 3:30 Eastern Standard Time. I will be back Monday next week, 3:30 Eastern Standard. I will still be on for the rest of the week, though. I'll be on Spaces a little bit later today as well. So I hope everybody has a good rest of the day. And once again, I love you guys. I have been rate limited lately by Twitter, so I'm not going to send personal messages out thanking everyone for coming. Just know that I love you guys, and look forward to seeing you all next week.
Love you too, bro. We're all rate limited up in this Twitter space. Oh, Zeter now, yeah.
That's right, Zeter. Yeah. Night, everybody.